There are people in this country earning more money every single year and still feeling stressed about it. And then there are people steadily building real wealth, even if their income is not dramatically higher. The difference usually is not intelligence, and it is not luck. It is how they were trained to think about money. If you grew up Asian, you probably feel that training early. Some kids grew up hearing, follow your passion, and you grew up hearing, why are all the lights on? Some families had bedtime stories. We had electricity audits. And if you touched the thermostat without permission, that turned into a full conversation about responsibility. We laugh about it now, but that mindset people tease might be one of the strongest financial advantages you were ever given, because it trains something most high earners never really built, which is control. And when you have control, you create margin. And margin is what builds wealth. By the end of this video, I want you to see why that so-called cheap mindset is actually wealth training, why high income without structure still feels unstable, and how to keep the discipline without carrying the fear. Let me start here. If you grew up like I did, you are not cheap. You are trained to think before you spend. I work with high-performing business owners every day. Revenue is strong. On paper, everything looks successful, and yet they still hesitate on small purchases. They feel just a little guilty about enjoying money. They still hear that internal question, do I really need this? This is not a flaw. That's conditioning. Think about the habits: reusing plastic bags, washing Ziplocs, saving extra napkins and sauce packets. Starbucks, we have coffee at home. That sounds extremes when you say it out loud. But what it actually did was install a pause between wanting something and buying it. And that pause is powerful. Most adults never build it. They do not have a spending framework. They have spending reactions. Stressed, they spend. Celebrating, they spend. Hard week, they spend. And when spending is reactive instead of intentional, lifestyle creeps happens automatically. Income goes up, comfort resets. Expenses rise to match. It does not feel irresponsible. It feels deserved. But that small interruption, is this necessary? Creates space. And when you create space between earning and spending, you build control. Control turns into consistency, and consistency creates margin. And margin is what builds wealth over time. Now, here's what most people miss. Even with high income, many people still do not feel safe. We assume more income automatically creates security. It sounds logical, but I have seen business owners earning 7 figures still feel anxious every month. Revenue swing, taxes show up, unexpected expenses hit. The stress is not about the number, it's about unpredictability. You can handle big numbers. What drains you is not knowing what is coming next. Real financial safety comes from predictability, and predictability comes from structure. When you know where your money is going before it even arrives, your nervous system settles. Without structure, even a profitable business can feel fragile. Nothing may be technically wrong, but nothing is anchoring the income. And income without anchors never feels secure. This is where most people get it backward. They live by this formula. Income minus expenses equals saving. It sounds responsible, but in real life, it means we'll save whatever happens to be left. For high earners, there's rarely anything left. Lifestyle upgrades feel reasonable. Convenience becomes normal. Subscription stacks up, and none of it feels reckless. It feels like progress. The stronger formula flips it. Income minus savings equals expenses. Savings leaves first. Lifestyle adjusts to what remains. And this is where the system comes in. In America, we're often told, spend 80%, save 10%. But most households are not even hitting that. The average savings rate is closer to 3 to 5%. So even when the responsible formula is not something most people sustain, wealth is not built in one big moment. It is built in a consistent gap between what you earn and what you live on. Over time, I want you aiming to keep your fixed lifestyle expenses at or under 50% of income. Not overnight, not through the extreme restriction, but as your income grows, you protect your baseline. If your income increases and your lifestyle does not automatically inflate with it, the gap widens. And that widening gap becomes your wealth engine. No drama, no extreme deprivation, just margin expanding in the background. High income is what you generate. High net worth is what you retain. And retention is driven by margin. I have worked with companies generating tens of millions in revenue that still feels unstable. The issue was not revenue, it was structure. Everything flows through one account, one large balance, no separation. When all your money sits in one place, your brain relaxes too soon. Until payroll runs, or taxes are due, or something expensive breaks, structure prevents that shock. You will have an operating account, a tax account, an emergency reserve, an investment account. Every every dollar should have a purpose before it is spent. Our parents did not use budgeting apps. They used envelopes. The principle is the same here. Structure reduces decision fatigue. It protects your future from your impulses. Now, let me say something important. There is a healthy version of this mindset, and there is an anxious one. Some of us learn discipline alongside fear. Spending felt dangerous. Enjoying money triggered guilt. Success did not automatically create ease. That is not wisdom. That is anxiety. The goal is not to stay tense forever. The goal is to keep the discipline and release the fear. Discipline without fear looks like intentional spending, confident investing, building a life you genuinely enjoy. The training was valuable. The fear does not have to stay. So yes, maybe you grew up turning off lights and debating a $6 coffee. That discipline compounds in your finances, in your decisions across generations. If this sounded like your childhood, comment thermostat survivor. And if you're a business owner who wants your money to feel organized, intentional, and actually working for you instead of stressing you out, make sure you are subscribed. Every week, I break down how to build structure that creates margin, clarity, and real stability in your business. And as always, this is general education. Your specific tax situation and financial structure should be reviewed with your own CPA or advisor because rules and circumstances change. But if you build margin and protect it with structure, you give yourself something income alone cannot provide: real financial security.